It's a really beautiful morning today, and so I've come down to the river. It's a really nice low tide. I got totally stuck in traffic for about an hour, so it's a relief to be down here. I've got about an hour left before the tide starts coming in. So let's go and see what we can find. So now that everyone is really good at spotting pipes, I'm going to pan over this area, see if you can see signs of some pipage. Now, what does that look like? Now that is a lovely old pipe bowl. I can tell it's old because it's rather small. It's got a nice milled edge there as well. And so that's going to date to, well, late 16th, early 17th century, I believe. And is there a stem? That same old question. Maybe a little bit of a stem. Let's see how much. Let's see how much. Ready? Not much, but it's a lovely old pipe bowl. Really nice. So that's going to be early 1600s. Delightful. Well, I have just seen something round down here, and I'm hoping that it's a nice old coin. Actually, I've just seen another round coin over there, but that's definitely a modern 1 penny. But the one that I've just seen definitely isn't modern. So I'm going to come slowly over it, see if you can spot it. See if you can see what I'm looking at. Can you see it? It's in the centre there, look. Here it is. Now, what is this? What is that, I wonder? Well, I can't quite make out anything on there at the moment, so I'm going to have to give that a clean. A careful clean. Don't worry, I'm not going to sandpaper it or anything. And hopefully it's not completely so worn that we can't tell what it is. Okay, we'll see that later. Kind of make out a triangle in the middle, actually. And some round things. Right, okay, well I'm going to carry on, see what else I can find. It's a nice low tide today. Let's see if there's anything else around here. If you see anything, just tell me to stop. What's this? This is weird. It's like a really pointy piece of wood, like a spear, with a metal bit on the end. It's strange, isn't it? I wonder what it is, what it came from. A medieval television aerial, maybe. I do believe that I've seen another coin over here, or something round that could be a coin. I could be wrong. I'm going to zoom in so you can have a look. It is just down there. See it? Right there. So let's go take a look. Oh, the suspense, the suspense. Let's see. Let's see. Okay, it's pretty worn, but it's definitely a coin. Oh, and I think it's Victoria. Look, you can just about see her ghostly profile there. Yep, just there. Barely make it out. Can you see? Oh, fantastic. Excellent. 2 coins in a row. It's not bad, is it? I think I'm going to stay around here for a while. What else can we see? It's funny because sometimes stones look like coins, like that, for example. It's easy to be fooled. Like this one, nice big doubloon, it's actually a stone. Okay, here's another spot the pipe challenge. So there is a pipe down there, which I've just seen. I don't know if it's got a stem yet. Now, can you see where it is? Let's have a little look down here. Can you see the signs of a pipe? I expect you can now, because it's just here, look. And what can we tell about it before we even start extracting it? Well, we can already tell, because there's a seam there, that it's likely to date to the early 19th century. And that seam there, usually little leaves, was used to cover the imperfections of the mould. And I can also see it's got a little spur here. So it's definitely early 19th century. So let's now see how much stem it's got. So I'm going to pull it out. Oh, not very much. I was hoping that it might be a little bit more than that. And you can see that it's all black there, because it's been sitting in that mud for so long. We might have a nice initial on the spur. Hard to see at the moment. But there we have it. A pipe probably dating to around 1840 to 1870, and it might have some remnants of tobacco inside, so I'll keep the mud in there, dry it out, and have a look when it's dry. So well done if you spotted it. Well, guess what? I've just seen what looks like a third round thing over there. Possibly a coin. Now, it's the 1st of March today, and my brother died back in 1997, so quite a long time ago, on the 1st of March. And I'm beginning to think that he's sprinkling coins on the foreshore for me. Matthew. Thank you. Look, can you see it? It's just here, look. So, what is it? What is it? Yeah, it's another coin, my goodness me. I've been treated today. 3 coins in the day. Wow, I'm really looking forward to cleaning that up. Okay, so there's another little spot the find challenge down there. Can you see anything? As I zoom in, yep, it's a vulcanite bottle stopper. Let's go see if it's got anything on the top. Any kind of identifying mark of a brewery or a pub or something. Let's have a look. Let's get it out. It always makes it a lot more fun and interesting when we have a name to work with. And we do, look, we do. Let's go and rinse it off over here. Let's rinse it off. And it's none other than my long lost relative, R. White and Son, London. There we go. Big W for White. R. White and Sons, London. I can see a button over there. Can you see it? I shall zoom in. There it is. Let's go and have a look. It may have a maker on it. It does look like quite a nice button actually. A nice plain button. Let's have a look. Oh, that's a nice one. What does that say on it? It's always nice to find a button with a tailor or a shop name on it. Now that is somebody, God, my eyesight's going. Ah, Cheapside. Okay. Brilliant. I haven't found a good button like this with a nice name on it. M. Somebody. Okay. We'll look him up later. Okay, and your next challenge is just down there. There. We'll make it quick because the tide's coming in. So here we are, look. It is, of course, a good old pipe. Let's see how much stem there is. Oh, it's still coming, it's still coming. Oh, nice. Lovely. Look at that. That's a lovely 18th century pipe. And as I was looking at it, I stepped back and I heard a little crunching and I realised that I just stood on a little skull. Maybe a little dog. Here, look. dog or a cat. So there we have it. A lovely pipe and a skull. Look, I've just started unearthing this piece of metal here. It could be some kind of bucket or container. Let's see what it is. Could be absolutely nothing, of course. A little tiny bucket. I wonder what that held back in the day. Well, I've just rinsed it out, and look, it's got 2 holes on either side, so probably attached to something. And it had a purpose one day in the past. Well, I fear it's the end of the pink boots. I have sprung a leak. Here, look, see, there's a hole. And my foot is now really wet. Yuck, I'm going to have to order some pronto. Oh, I've got a sludgy foot in my boot. But they haven't done too badly. They've lasted me about 2 years, so I can't complain. Ugh. For watching. I hope you're all well. Welcome to my studio, and I'm very excited to now go through this weird and wonderful selection of finds from the Thames mud. And I'm going to focus at first, of course, on the 3 wonderful coins that I found. And so first of all, we need to clean them up a little bit to find out what they are. So that's what we're going to do first of all, and I'm going to put your ID skills to the test. Right, okay, so these are the 3 coins here that I found on this outing today, the same day, which is very exciting, and I really want to know what they are. Now, I know that this one is a Queen Victoria. You can just see her profile there if you get the light just right. And we've got this one here, which I actually can't see who this is at all. So that's going to be fun, finding out who this is. But this one here, now this is the first coin that I found, and I can make out like a triangle on there. Can you see it? And on the other side, it looks like a few little circles. I'm wondering if it's something Arabic. So if you want to have a guess now, or if you think you know what it is, write it in the comments and let's see if you're right. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to pop that in there for just a very short amount of time. Well, here we are. I don't want to leave it in any longer because I don't want to damage it. And I have to say, I am none the wiser. That pattern there has come through. Just several little circles. And on this side here, we can just see that sort of triangular design. But it's very worn. And so, do you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to put it on Twitter or Facebook or somewhere like that and see if I can find out what it is. And so let's have a go with this one. So how did you get on? I know that there's lots of coin experts out there, so I've no doubt that some of you will have been able to ID those coins as soon as they came out of the electrolysis bath. I did have some help with my ID from Twitter, and so I do now know what they all are. So I will give you a little bit of a clue. Two of them are British monarchs. And we already know, of course, that we do have a Queen Victoria coin here because we could see the profile before we actually put it in the electrolysis bath. But one of them, and this is the one which I was really, really intrigued about, the one with the little circles and the triangle, this one is a French monarch. So there is a little clue in case you want to continue trying to ID it if you haven't already. And so I thought it would be kind of fun just to give you a few facts about each of these kings and queens. And I've got to say that isn't it just great that you can go on the Thames foreshore and find kings and queens from completely different eras all muddled up together in the mud. There aren't very many places where you can actually do that. So it's really very exciting. So let's start off with Queen Victoria. Now, the coin is very, very worn. I can't see the date on it, but it is a young Queen Victoria, and she reigned from 1837 to 1901. And she was only 5 foot tall. That's something that I didn't know. And she was also very rotund because she did absolutely love her food. She had 9 children with Albert, and she actually really didn't like being pregnant at all. There's just an interesting fact that I came upon today as I was looking up some information about her on the internet. And I also found out that in 1842 she was the first monarch, at least in Britain, to take a ride on a train, and she absolutely loved it. And it's quite nice because that ties up really nicely with a piece of pottery which I found a few months ago with a little tiny train carriage on it with Victoria written on it. So this probably was made to commemorate when Queen Victoria did actually go on the train. So that's a nice little link between this coin and this piece of pottery. So the next coin I'm going to tell you about is this one here, which has a very wonderful profile of George II, King George II. And he was king from 1727 to 1760. And this is a George II halfpenny. And I shall tell you a little bit of information about George. I'm going to check my notes to make sure I don't get it wrong. Firstly, he didn't get on with his father. They absolutely hated each other. His father, who was George I, was actually quite jealous of George II's popularity, and he really didn't like him at all. But interestingly, before they fell out, George I decided that he didn't want his son George II to be in a loveless marriage like he had been. And so he arranged for his son to travel to see his future wife incognito with a false name to see if he actually liked her before a marriage was arranged. And so King George II travelled over to see his future wife, Caroline of Ansbach, and he had a false name of Monsieur de Bush. And he met her, she didn't know who he was, and he absolutely fell in love with her. So it was a success all round, and so very shortly afterwards he revealed his true identity, and Caroline of Ansbach and George II were married, and they had a very happy marriage, despite the fact that George II had loads and loads of mistresses. Apparently he really did love Caroline. And in fact, so much so that when she died in, 1737, he was absolutely heartbroken. And in 1760, when he died, shortly after he got off of his toilet stool, he had left instructions that their 2 coffins should be removed, or not, the 2 sides of their coffins should be removed so that their remains could be mingled together. So there are a few interesting, lesser-known facts about King George II. So that's those 2. So now I'm going to reveal the identity of the 3rd coin, which is the French Monarch. And so this coin here is a Louis XIV 6 denier piece, and this was revealed to me or ID'd by somebody on Twitter. I was really surprised because I didn't think anybody was going to. But now actually you can, now that I know what it is, I can actually see the features which do reveal the identity of the coin. So how about a few fun facts about Louis XIV? Well, he reigned from 1643 to 1715, and he became king when he was 4 years old. And he actually had a very long reign, 72 years. And a few other fun facts about Louis. He loved ballet dancing, and he performed in lots and lots of ballets. Yeah, ballet, he really, really loved it. He also believed that he was a direct representative of God, and he claimed miraculous healing powers. And when he was out voyaging around, he used to go up to people and touch them and say that he could heal people from scrofula. And if you don't know what that is, then look it up. Also, another fact is that Louisiana, the state of Louisiana in the USA, is actually named after Louis XIV. So isn't that marvellous that within just a very short area really on the Thames foreshore you can find Queen Victoria, King Louis XIV and George II. So that was a real treat. And now, if we look at these pipes, what I realised afterwards is that the 3 pipes which featured on this video also link very nicely to these monarchs, because each of those pipes comes from the same era as one of them. The one with the milled edge, which I pulled out at first, now it dates from about 1640 to 1660, and so that marries up really well with King Louis XIV, who reigned from 1643 to 1715. Now, for King George II, we have this lovely long pipe here, because this pipe dates from about 1720 to 1740, and King George II reigned from 1727 to 1760. So whoever was around during his reign would have been smoking a pipe very much like this. And then lastly we have this pipe here, which dates from about 1840 to 1870, which puts it perfectly in the reign of Queen Victoria. So I'm very happy to be able to marry those 3 coins up with the 3 pipes. It all seems to fit really perfectly. So now, moving on from the coins and the pipes, I won't spend too long on this. I'm not even really sure why I kept it, but I will tell you that it's actually polished up really nicely. Somebody obviously cared about it at one point. It's been welded just here. It's got these 2 holes either side, probably used to tip something, I expect. And if you know what it was used for, then please let me know. I probably won't keep it, but it was found on an area of foreshore where there was a lot of industrial work going on and shipbuilding, so it probably has a link to that. This curious stick here, which I did pick up with this bit of metal at the end, and it sort of tapers up. Yeah, very curious. I'm not sure if I'll ever find out what that was, but again, if you recognise it or know what it might be, then please reveal. Oh, the button. Now, Walter Whiffen. What a great name. It sounds almost Dickensian. So this button, W. Whiffen from 146 Cheapside, he was indeed a merchant tailor, And I have found a wonderful letterhead from him, which I'm going to show you a photograph of. He was born in 1847 in Kent, and he died in 1906. He was born in Gravesend, and he was married to Louisa, and he had several children, including Ada, Walter Jr. and Maud. So there we are, a little bit of information from this tiny button, but I think the best thing about the button is the name, because I just love that name, Walter Whiffen. It sounds like a really good character from a book. What else have we got here? Okay, yes, so the slightly more gruesome find, this little skull which I crunched on. I took it home for me, gave it a little rinse, and I realised that it's very similar to another skull which I have here. So I think they are dog skulls. So I was thinking that this was a very small dog, and this is even smaller. So not quite sure what kind of dog it was, but I'm pretty certain it's a dog, it's not a cat. So there's not a lot else that it can be. So there we have it, a little dog skull. My nice vulcanite bottle stopper with White, R. White and Sons on it. I did actually find a bottle that I've got here at home that it fits into perfectly, so that's very satisfying. Something very satisfying about screwing in a vulcanite bottle stopper. So thank you very much for watching, everyone. I hope that you enjoyed that, and thanks for your feedback and your comments and suggestions. I always read them. It might take me a little while to respond to them, but I really appreciate them, each and every one. And thank you too to everyone who has donated via my Ko-fi account. I'll soon be getting my camera, which should greatly improve the audio in these studio roundups that I do. So I'd like to wish you all an excellent week ahead, and I'm very much looking forward to seeing you again very soon. Bye bye.